session currently based on Google Classroom. If you could move forward, please, Michael. So first of all, just to give you a bit of information about who we are and kind of our EdTech Demonstrator Consortium. So we are a consortium of 3 different schools, and we have an aim to be able to help other schools and educational establishments to be able to use EdTech and technology to support the pedagogy of teaching and learning. We are 3 very different schools. Okay, we have Ribblesdale High School, who are there and can basically support via Microsoft products. We have Hambleton, who are here today to ensure that they can support on Google Classroom, and we also have Highfurlong, who can support with special educational needs as well. And what we are here to do is to give you a real life view on how EdTech can be used to support schools, teachers and pupils, and basically ensure that there is effective practice across all your whole organisation. Next slide, please, Michael. So what can we offer? We can offer experience on digital platforms and how we as 3 different schools have been able to use it to be able to enhance learning, and how we've over the last couple of weeks and obviously moving forward, how we are planning to use EdTech for remote learning, and obviously when we go back in September, probably a hybrid way of working. And what we currently do to keep our children safe, to ensure that the technology that they're using is supporting their education in a very safe environment. As I said before, we have 3 different schools which are able to support through mainstream and also special education as well. And also looking at how teachers can be able to use this, and schools to be able to track engagement and support pupils on their remote learning journeys, but also to enhance teachers' own CPD and to ensure that they are given the skills to be able to move forward in a new remote learning revolution that we currently have at this moment in time. Next slide, please, Michael. So what I would like to do now is I'd like to introduce you your main presenter of today, which is Michael, who is of Hambleton Primary School, and he is our Google technology expert, and he is going to run through how Hambleton use Google technology, but also a live demonstration for you to be able to get started. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, just to let you know, my name is Michael Goldley. I've been a teacher for 10 years. I am a leader in primary computing and ambassador for internet safety, and also my specialism is with Google Educational Suite. Okay, first of all, before I talk about how the basics of getting your Google Classroom set up, the first thing I would like to do is talk about who we are as an academy, Hambleton. I'm going to give you a quick overview of who we are. We are a 1-form entry nursery and primary school with 260 children on roll. We're based in the village of Hambleton in Lancashire, and we have an Ofsted outstanding rating. I want to move on now to talk about how technology is embedded within our school and how we use it. First and foremost, we have a one-to-one iPad scheme. We've successfully been running that for a number of years now. We've run this through a third-party business. And you're always given the latest iPad. We're giving iTunes credits for the kids, and it's always an affordable price. After 3 years, that's paid off. The device is then the children's. If it's not an option, the children can also bring their own devices into school. They sign an agreement with us. And then finally, we always make sure that we have enough devices, even if those children can't afford those devices, so everyone has access to some type of technology on a one-to-one basis. Next, I'm going to move on to our Google Admin Suite. The reason the majority of you are here today, this is what we use at the backbone of all our technology. We've got a cloud-based shared teacher drive on here. We use it through FileStream, and it's embedded into all our Windows 10 Explorer files. That means it's really easy to access all assessments, policies, any learning and any planning, and it's fantastic, and we find it very easy to use at our school. Next, I'm going to move on to what do we use in regards to our board technology. Well, we use wireless board technology now, where we actually have something called a Microsoft wireless adapter connected into the HDMI leads, and also we have Apple TVs as well, all integrated into them all. And that means anyone, any teacher, any TA, anyone who's coming into the school who may be sharing best practice or any type of CPD can access any screen in our school at the click of a button. This mirroring technology has worked really well for us. Next, I want to talk about some of the apps that we use to support and enhance our learning before and actually during the COVID-19 crisis. We use apps in every area of education, whether it be class dojos to support and praise behaviour. I know a lot of schools use this already. We use TT Rockstars to improve the recall of those multiplication and division facts. Google Classroom, which is now our most important app for delivering our remote learning offer. Or something we started doing recently is integrating iBooks by recording and saving all our books onto our iBooks platform. And what this means is that everyone can have access to thousands of books without us having to spend thousands of pounds on class sets of books. We found this has really been manageable and effective for us. Finally, a couple of things. We support schools in our network, our FCAT Academy network. For years, we've been providing a lot of support within that network. We're very fortunate to have loyal and experienced teachers here at Hambleton. It may be from the offer ways we use Lego to support computer science, or with our teachers in EYFS, which supports CPD for those other schools as well. And this brings me on to finally how we're an accredited teaching school. Through the Fylde Coast Teaching Alliance, we provide teacher training from qualified teachers, further providing extra CPD for large numbers of new teachers, showing them how technology can be used effectively in the classroom. Okay. Next, what a lot of you will probably want to know about is our journey to remote learning. Well, we have Google Teaching and Learning Platform, which is well established within our academy. We've had our G Suite, that's what we call it, for education, which has enabled us firstly to have institutional-wide email, create a shared calendar, have video conferencing and voice conferencing, and finally enabling us to set up our Google Classroom easily. Then we were approached through the Academy network to develop this consortium. Well, we were approached by Stephen Cox, he's the head at Ribblesdale, who seemed impressed with how we use technology at our school. And after various discussions with Highfurlong and Ribblesdale, we agreed that we could offer a better support package as a consortium with a wide range of skills in very different areas. So the EdTech bid was developed and our application was successful. Then came the COVID-19 lockdown. So the benchmark had changed. Instead of being able to offer EdTech, our services changed to remote learning and what we could offer to other schools to support them. Fortunately, we're in quite a good position with us having all the Google platform in place. We already started using Google Classroom throughout, and actually the transition was quite smooth. So how do we use remote learning for our children? Well, first of all, I've already mentioned this. You start by having that Google admin suite already established, and then you need to set your Google Classroom up back of house. This is doing some housekeeping, in other words. You need to create your virtual classrooms, and even a student council classroom we set up as well, and then begin allocating the emails of those children out to their virtual classrooms, which I'm going to talk a bit more about today. Then you'll need to set up rights, privileges, and make sure all those teachers are given unique class emails, so not to use their normal staff ones. Then we had to give out CPD for staff and for children. Firstly, as most staff would be, there was an element of anxiety in the air, with staff worried about the day-to-day setting of work, responding to it, etc. But we have a resilient staff base, and once they were shown the basics and how easy it was to use, they were all on board. And I tested it with my year fives and found it worked really, really well. The next step was the CPD for the children. This was not as easy as you could imagine. We're talking from nursery reception up to year 6. So we literally went round to each classroom, downloaded the Google Classroom app, set up their accounts, and gave those whistle-stop tours out to each class. We also gave how-to guides to our parents as well, because we knew that would be the key to the engagement. Having someone have the admin rights who can reset passwords is absolute priority. I have that set up on my phone, and if anyone needs a password reset, and it can be done in the flick of a switch, as we say. So did we get it right? Well, no, of course we didn't. It's about reviewing and constantly reflecting. It's about taking feedback from our parents and using this to support our children further. We're still on a massive journey, which I'm sure a lot of you are as well. And then finally, before I move on to the demonstration today, communication with parents. We have a functionality, well, you will have one if you have Google, a functionality called Google Forms. We sent out Google Forms to our parents, and we found out that 95% of our parents are happy with the remote learning offer we are providing. That really helped us out. And also there were suggestions and improvements, of course, things like feeding back to students, praise for good work, all part of this new and strange learning journey. But mainly, what did we get out of that feedback? It was children just miss school and their friends. The work isn't important at this stage. However, it's also important that as a school, we provide an offer of learning still. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to a live demonstration of how to set up Google Classroom. I'm just going to click you off this slide for now. So we're going to go through the initial enrollment. We're going to go through setting up the class. We're going to go through setting up student emails and then allocating children to their classes. In regards to setting up work, that will be in later webinars. But today, it's going to be the absolute basics, starting from right at the beginning to having something in place for your students. Okay, so at this stage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop presenting, and I'm now going to share with you another tab so you can see how we set this up right from the beginning. Okay, I hope everyone can see this okay. I'm just checking. Okay, here we go. So firstly, hang on, it's just someone's to come in. So firstly, you need to have initial enrollment on the Google Educational Suite. So what you do to begin with is you just simply Google Education Suite and then return. Then once you've Googled that, you click on the first link and it will take you through to sign up for G Suite. Okay. And once you sign up for G Suite, hang on, let me just click it back onto there. Bear with me. I'm just going to click onto another tab so you can see the exact tab I'm on. Okay. And once you sign up for Google Suite, you will start getting emails from Google back within a couple of weeks with your whole domain all set up ready for you. It is free for educational institutions. Most of you probably have done this point already and you're wanting to look at where to go next. And that's what I'm going to move on to now. So once you've been set up with your Google Educational Suite, it looks like this to begin with. This is just Google. But up here, there's a small array. And you click on that and you have all the apps which are attached to Google. First thing that you do need to do is go into your Google admin tab. This is very important. In here, this is where you start by clicking in all your, just let me put a password in here, bear with me. Okay. This is where you set all your users up back of house, set all your admin roles up, your security, the rules that you want in place. And the first thing that you do need to do is set your users up. Don't worry about anything else at this stage, is to set your users up. I am going to set up some random users just to show you how they are. You can see I have my children at my school set up already. What you will need to do now is, if you click on here, add new user, it will enable you to add them in. So I might say, child 1 test, and then what that does is it creates a child 1 at Hambleton Primary Academy email. And what I can do at this stage is click onto, you've got the option here to automatically generate a password, or you can generate one for them. I would say generate one for them. Make it very simple so they can get logged in all the way through. So Hambleton, just Hambleton. Add your user in. And it's simple as that. That child will have that set up. You then do the same for all your staff. You click add a new user, and then you put in your staff members' names. Don't worry about allocating them yet. So it might be Johnny Bravo. Any of you can remember Johnny Bravo. Johnny Bravo at Hambleton, or just be Johnny, and then I put him in as a .bravo. Depending on how you want to do that, you can set up any way you want. Johnny.bravo, Hambleton Primary Academy.co.uk. Then simple password, Hambleton. You can add that new user. Okay. Right, now you start adding your users. What you need to do now is start by creating your admin roles. Okay. So what you need to do now is click back on the Google Admin tab. Takes you back into your dashboard here. And then what you need to do is start creating admin roles within there. It's really important, I feel, that you have at least 2 people as super admin. The reason for that is they can change passwords really quickly for you. And that's all you need to do at the moment. You go into the super admin, you assign those admin privileges. And the way you do that is simply by clicking on assign role and then finding that user. So I want Johnny Bravo to be created there. So there you go. There's Johnny Bravo there. He's clicked in. I've assigned him the role as a super user now, and he will be able to get administration rights and help me create passwords or reset passwords at a later time. So that is your admin roles. Next, you have things like security settings. So once again, you go back into the Google admin page and you will go into security settings. Okay, it's just loading. Now, while you're in here, there are some things that you wish to maybe set up. Things like 2-step verifications for passwords, monitoring passwords by the strength. I keep my strength for passwords low. The reason I do that is that it doesn't become too complex for the children to create a password, so they don't need to have to put in numbers, etc. And that's what I would recommend you do. But you do need to look through this yourself and decide what settings that you want to put in place for your children. Another one here is data protection. What this enables you to do is manage rules. And you can set up new rules. So for example, I can add a rule that when they log on to Google Classroom, it will say something like, please make sure you adhere to the policy that you signed up to. I know this might be more important in high schools to make sure that when parents or children sign an agreement to make sure they behave themselves on the internet, you can make that rule pop up when they come up later on. So you can set that rule up so that when they click on the Google Classroom app, it'll have that rule up. Okay, I'm going to click out of that for now. Okay, the next thing is go back to Google Admin again, the apps, your apps. So when you create an email for a person, a student, you need to make sure that all the children have access to all of the apps, things like Google Drive, Google Classroom, etc. So you do that by clicking on G Suite here, and you can see all of the services here. I've made sure that all the children and staff in here have access to all of those apps: the calendar, the classroom, the Drive and Docs, Gmail, Google Chrome Sync, the Hangouts, the Meets. Depending on what you want to have access to, you click that on, and then as you can see down there, we have it on for Google Meet. What that means is we didn't want all the children to be accessing Google Meet at the moment. We don't use it just yet. It's something we're going to start using at a later date. Reason for that is just safeguarding issues. As an academy, we decided that we didn't want any video conferencing at the moment with children. Okay, so now that they're all set up, you come back out of Google Admin, and now I'm going to show you something else, which are reports. Reports are great because you can see how many of the children in your academy, in your schools, are engaging with Google Classroom. So you can see we have, it can change. This is Gmail, Drive. If I click on Classroom here, you can see weekly active users 206, 207, then it's dropped. I think that was the half-term break, but you can see the amount of users we have. And as a lot of you probably are noticing at the moment, the amount of remote learning is starting to decline as we stay off longer. But we're trying our best to keep those children engaged currently. Okay, next, this is what you all sort of come for. Let's set up the classroom. So what we do is we click back over here. We don't need admin anymore. That'll all be set up. And we are going to go down and find our Google Classroom app. This, what you'll see now, is Hambleton's Google Classroom. You'll be able to see our student council, our nursery, our reception, year 6, year 3, year 2, year 5, year 4. And if I click, for example, on my year 5 area, you can see we have a stream of work, which I send them. I sent them a video last Friday praising all the work they'd done for our Mystery Object Week. And as you can see, the children can comment back to me. They can't, though, make their own posts, and that's what I'll show you in a bit. Then there's the daily classwork that you set, and I'll talk about setting daily classwork on a later date. Okay. What you've come today, though, to find out is how to set up a class. So down the side here, you need to go back to classes here, and then you have a simple plus sign in the corner. Click on this, which is to create or join a class. We want to create a new class. And let's say you're in year 4. So you're going to click year 4. This is the only part which is required. If you are in high school, you might choose different subjects or rooms. So you might put class name, biology down here, subject science room, whatever it is, depending. But I'm just going to keep it very simple for today's webinar and just create another year 4 classroom. I can delete this later on, of course. Okay. It does take a while just to create that class and embed it within there, but you should see it now come up.
Apologies, Michael. Sorry
Yes.
for stopping you. We've just had some comments to say that your screen might have frozen. I don't know whether or not you would like to reshare that screen.
I know exactly what's happened. I'll reshare it. What's happened is gone into another tab, so bear with me. I'll just come off there, and I will just do that for you now. Bear with me. Okay. If I'm just going to stop presenting, and then I'll show you this new present in a different tab. Apologies there. Okay, I'm hoping you can now see the year 4. You can now see the Google Classroom element there. It should have changed. Okay, so I'll just go back there and show you what I needed to do again. So here are all your apps again. You click on this Google Classroom one, and it will take you through to your Google Classroom. In your Google, there'll be nothing here. I've obviously set these up for my school. What you'll need to do is start setting up your classes. So in order to do that, you simply click on the plus sign here, create the class, and then start putting in those details. So I did a year 4 one. I'll do a year 3 one this time. You've got the different subjects and sections there. That might be more applicable for high schools, but for now, I'm going to keep it nice and simple. I'm going to click create. And just wait a second for that to load up while it actually creates that base. Okay. Okay, this should just be 1 minute now. There we are. So here we go. We've got the year 3 classroom set up here, and you have all these different tabs at the top. You have the stream. Think of stream like Facebook. You can share something with your class. Hello class, and you can post it and it'll pop up on their iPads through Google Classroom. They'll push the notification through and they'll say hello class, and then they can respond down there. Then you've got your classwork, which you'll set up. We set it up on a daily basis. We have a piece of maths, a piece of English. Then we also have things like Mystery Object Weeks. We can share different topic work with them as well. This is quite a big thing. I'm not going to talk about it too much today because I'm going to do another webinar on that on a later date. Then you've got your people. This is what is quite important. You've got your students tab here and your teachers. As you can see, because I set the class up, I am already allocated as a teacher. But what I want to do as well is I want to allocate Johnny Bravo, who we set up before. So if I click on Johnny, he should, there we go, you can see him there. He comes straight up and I can invite him straight into the Google Classroom. And as you see now, he's ready to accept that and become a teacher in my Google Classroom. Then you want to start adding your students. So I think last time I set up as child 1. So if I take, oh, there we go. There you go, test child at Hambleton Primary Academy. I can click that child in and invite that child to the class. And now you have the basics there. You have your teachers allocated, you have your students allocated, and you have the classroom set up. And that is the basics of getting set up there. There are also different things you can do. If I click back on the Year 3 tab there, you can set up a different theme. You can upload your own photos, make it look a bit more pretty if you wish. And now I'm going to talk a bit more about the general settings. These are quite important, I think. You're going to need to know this. If you go down to general, also this class code here, none of your students should need a class code if you've allocated them to the class. Just remember that, quite important. So if you do get any concerns from parents saying, can you tell me what the class code is? They will not need it once they log in with the email that's been set up through the classroom. Then you've got the stream. I've got here students can post and comment. We don't set it up. All we have is students can only comment. And what that means is when I create a post on the stream, they can comment on that, but they can't create their own posts. Keeps the numbers down of what comments you're going to get. You can also set up your marking policies here. So at the moment, we don't have this, but you might want to set it up on different points or different categories. That's something I'll talk about on a later date. Then another important thing that you may wish to set up here is I'm just going to discuss, well, what I'll do is I'll just save these changes. Then when you've got that class set up, this is an important part as well. So your phone doesn't get inundated with every post and every beep from every child that comments. You go down to the bottom here, you click on settings. You've got this email here, receive email notifications. I would turn that off because your email will be bleeping mentally. Just keep it off and then just go in there and check it from, I don't know, depending on what you put in place for your school, you may decide check it in the morning, check it in the evening. That really does depend. Okay, you are now all set up with your Google Classroom. I'm just going to go back now to the slide and we're going to then just end the presentation and then we're going to go to questions. So if you just bear with me, I'm just going to go back to our slide and I will then hand you back to my colleague. Just bear with me. Lee. Okay, thank you, Lee.
Hello, everybody. And first of all, just to say that this is a series of different webinars that we will be having and be holding. Over the next couple of webinars, Michael will be setting out how he uses and different strategies on how you can use Google Classrooms to ensure that you can engage your pupils and ensure that your staff are being able to provide the different materials that you may require at this time. Now, when Michael was going through the presentation there was no questions that actually popped up. Is there anything here that anybody would like to ask or that we can pose to Michael? Not a problem. Okay, Michael, if you could just move back a slide, please. Okay, and Michael, we've currently just had one question, and it's from Ed, and they would like to know is, can children access the class without the teacher?
Yes, of course they can, yeah. What they simply do is, once the Google Classroom has been set up on their device or a phone, etc., they can go in there, they can check their own work, they can access it, they don't need to be in there with the teacher at the same time, if that's what he means by that question.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. Okay, so basically just to give yourself some next steps on what we should be looking, or maybe yourself should be looking for to move on how to move forward. The first thing is if you're looking for personalized free EdTech support, I would certainly suggest registering your interest via the EdTech Demonstrator project. Now, this is free support currently provided by the DFE from schools. Okay, so it is schools like Hambleton, like Highfurlong, like Ribblesdale High School. It's basically teachers supporting teachers, and at this moment in time, it's completely free. As a lot of us know, we often don't get anything free from the DFE, so certainly make use of it while it is available. Now start to think maybe how your own EdTech strategy as a school is going to be impacted over the next couple of months, and certainly how we move forward. I don't think any of us know at this moment in time what school will look like in September, but I think that we can probably be in the agreement that it won't be as it was at the start of the year or last year, and we will probably more than likely be in a hybrid sort of teaching structure that we're doing. And at this stage, EdTech will be extremely important to be able to support our pupils. And really, what I would suggest is, if you are starting to think about looking at how to use Google Classroom, is to use their support system that they currently have. And Michael's placed it there with on the bottom of the presentation, and that will basically be able to support you on anything that you might need towards Google. Now, the way that we have set out these webinars is to ensure that we have small, manageable chunk webinars that can actually be used as a series. So we will make this webinar available for everybody who's been here today as a participant, and it will be sent out via an email, and also be accessible on our website. Okay, if you could just go to the next slide, please, Michael. So here are just a couple of our contacts and our website. So as at the very, very top, as our website, it is edtech.ribblesdale.org. And if you go to that website, the section that you would be looking for would be the demonstrator section. And we currently have a couple of people within our team that you can certainly reach out to and connect for support, and they will be able to guide you on your journey. But as I said, the very first step is to be able to complete that demonstrator form, and that just opens up all the different connections that you need for that personalized support. Thank you very much. Okay, bear with me, Michael. We have one more question that's just popped in, okay, which is from Suzanne. And it says, did you experience any issues with students accessing Google? For example, the lack of appropriate software.
Did we experience any issues with students accessing Google, lack of appropriate software? I'm guessing what you mean there is based on, are they struggling with maybe some of the hardware, some of the iPads and things? I've personally found that Google is a very strong base for actually supporting the software, whatever you're using. It seems to be very robust. It seems to be manageable really well, and we don't have many problems at all. The main problems that we have are with students, as you can imagine, forgetting their passwords. So my top tip is to make sure you download the Google Admin app and make sure you can reset passwords at the flick of a switch. That's really important. But in regards to experience any issues, no, we haven't so far.
Thank you very much, Michael. And if we don't have any more questions there, I would like to bring a close. So 1 second, Ed has posed another question. As children can access the classroom, can they then use the webcam to see each other without the teacher? Just thinking of safeguarding.
No, they can't. It's impossible. What you can do is you have your Google Meet privileges set up back of house, and what you do is you make sure that children cannot set up their own Google Meet, so it's impossible for them to do it on our end. What we can do is we can set up a Google Meet for the children to be invited into, just like today. But there are also options to set it up, which I'm still looking into, where you can't see what's in their background, which is going to be a massive safeguarding issue to a lot of schools. And that's what we're looking at the moment, so that when students do come onto Google Classroom or Google Meet, they will just be like yourselves, blank screen, just listening, so they can get some feedback from the teacher or make comments.
Okay, thank you very much. And as we finish, I would like to say thank you very much for joining us today. We hope to see more of you on our future webinars on how to use Google Classroom to support the teaching and learning. And we look forward to supporting you in the future. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.